Our session, Strengthening AI Reliability, Leveraging Data Gaps for Verified Data and Consistent Model Performance. We're happy to hear you here today. Before we begin, I'd like to remind you that there will be time at the end of the session for any questions or comments that you have. So please feel free to submit your questions to the Q&A link, and we'll be sure to cover those during the session. I'm excited to announce our speaker today, Ekatmika Khatua. With over 20 years of experience, Ekatmika is currently the Managing Director and Head of India Quantum Street AI, where she leads global engineering team in delivering AI-based solutions to banks and asset management companies. She holds a master's degree in computer science from Ektal University and an MBA in finance from the Indian Institute of Management, Kolkata. Throughout her career, Ekatmika has made significant contributions to advancing AI reliability and data management practices, driving innovation and excellence in the industry. Thank you for joining us today, Ekatmika. I'll pass this along to you.
Hey, thanks, Mary. Thanks, everyone. Mary has given a very brief introduction to me, so I have covered my first introduction slide already, so I don't have to go through that. So just to reiterate, hi, I'm Ekatmika. I'm Managing Director, Head of India Quantum Street AI, and currently some 20 years of experience in various technology, predominantly in supply chain and finance. Both the topics are really close to my heart. And originally belong to eastern part of India, a state called Orissa, and I finished my masters and I moved to Karnataka, Bangalore, where I'm residing now. And and personally, I'm 13 years. I'm married, and I have a son of 11 years old, and I have a huge list of hobbies. So, starting from, I'm a classical Odissi dancer, I do swimming, badminton, I do workout, I love cooking. I have lots and lots of hobbies, and that's my secret actually. So these hobbies and work never get me bored. I never get bored. I always get occupied. So moving on to the session, so I'd like to introduce Quantum Street AI first. So Quantum Street AI, we are a leading Silicon Valley Fintech company, and we started with 2017 launching the world's first AI power ETF in New York Stock Exchange, and we have our own proprietary AI solutions servicing to investment and wealth management spaces. We have a lot of these banks as our customer throughout the global. When I talk about the models, we have more than 1 lakh model, which are a proprietary model which runs every single day. And when there is a lot of models, then there is a humongous amount of data which we deal with. And also various sources, because this models has to get trained in historical data. So the data size itself is huge, and for that we need to make sure the quality of data should be good. It is verified, and the training data has to serve the purpose, and the prediction and the model performance should be up to the mark. So the challenges initially what we had is, like I said, we have to source data from different data sources, and the data itself is huge because we have to fetch data from the for the universe, for the company inception. So so many years down the line, the data and the finance data for every corner. So data is huge. So before the data come to our system, we need to have my finance analyst team to analyze the data, verify the authenticity of the data, and then the QA performs some automation script to run to see that the validation of the data. They do also the manual checks happen. So before we train the model, it takes nearly good 5 to 7 days to us to actually we start the training because of the data fetching and the pre-prep of the data. That itself was a huge task because when we fetch data from the through APIs, there are a lot of scenarios happen. Sometimes the API get failed, or there is a network glitch, or we are getting some vague data, or getting zeros or some special characters or numbers. So we have to identify those kind of erroneous data and again rephrase to correction for the correction. And those are the very pain points we had, because that takes a lot of time to identify, rectify, and then run the entire check again before we really train our models. So that's the manual thing was there in our place. So that's the reason I was looking for some tool which helped me to automate and ease the process of data verification. So that's the motive. We started looking for tools in the market available, and I came across DataGaps. And so the thing which the initial conversation and what was grabbed my attention was the rule-based verification, and also the flexible. They are flexible to customize the two APIs as per our business requirement, because our requirements are really peculiar and very specific. So they are been very open to do the customization for us. Also the scalability, because as I said, we have so much of data and our solutions are very time sensitive. So every day we deliver. We have everyday delivery. Before the market opens, we have to ready with our model prediction. So that's time sensitivity is one of the thing which is there. So I was also very cautious not to introduce anything on the workflow which is going to increase the overall time. So that is another thing was there. So we have the DataGaps team was very open to do a POC with us. So we have done a POC and that really well. And currently we are using DataGaps in our two major workflows. One as a data validator in our daily model prediction. So every day we fetch the fresh data of yesterday, and once the data get fetched, it is go through the DataGaps validation to validate the data, and if at all there is any glitch on the data or any of this data, that DataGaps catches, because all the rules have been configured, and it catches the data and then again reinitiate automatically to rephrase those data sets and correct it. And after the data correction happens, we prepare our data, training data, and then feed it to models. And model runs their prediction, and after the model run the prediction, also there is a check done in the DataGaps to check the model performance. There is a lot of rules also configured in the pipeline to verify the predictions and the model performance, and some comparisons from previous to historical comparisons what we do to DataGaps. So this is one of the workflow which we run on a daily basis. Another thing which we are running with DataGaps is in our CI/CD pipeline. So once we have our product ready, before it promote to production, we need to have a pre-prod testing cycle which happens where we have our analysts to perform our various kind of analysis, and they run their algorithm and check the data, and also the QA process happen. And after all this thing happen, we do a data gaps run to validate the data authenticity before we call it as a golden database and promote it to production. So this is so data gaps is also implemented in our CI/CD pipeline for all our products. So we are using this in a day-to-day basis. So for us, we are using data gaps in three different way. One is like a data validator, having a data rules, plus as a for a data comparator. So we compare historical data with the tool, and also we have our customized Python scripts, which is very internal to us, and those are also part of our data gap scenario, which we run to check our data. So these are the predominantly three areas where we are using data gaps. The key highlight of using this tool was the scalability, because there is a huge number of data and the time sensitivity. The tool has to be capable enough to do the verification in the certain time. So, and it serves the purpose. Currently, we are running close to 200 rules. And with the correction, everything within 30 minutes. 30 minutes in the higher range what we have experienced so far. We are able to verify the entire data, and adaptability, which is because the customized checked, so the structural way of validating the data. So that makes things very easy available to us, this tool. Also, the main thing is the productivity and the time saving part. Currently, we are earlier, as I said when I started, so we are taking 5 to 7 days before we actually start training our models. So currently, that is not even more than half of the time. Within 3 to 4 days, our data are ready, because the data verification is mostly done through data gaps. So that helps us to catch up the time and deliver the solution really faster. So that's mostly we are using the data gaps, and yeah. So is there any questions from anybody? I am open to take it now.
Well, thank you so much, Ekatmika, for sharing your expertise and your insights. And we really do have a few questions here, so let me pull those up and I will ask away. Okay, the first question is, how can data quality issues lead to model drift or inaccuracies in AI predictions?
As I said, the AI models are data driven. So the good amount of historical data you give the model, that will enable the model to predict the future. So for in our case, actually we deal with the finance space, so we need to have the company historical data from the inception, and that we analyze and feed into our model. And that makes it accurate. So in any scenario, the model needs the good data to perform better. So yeah, so that's important.
Okay, thank you. Next question is, how does data gaps enhance performance in ML model training?
As I said, for me, for our scenario, there is two scenario predominantly we are using as as a data validator, right? So we validate the data. So when we fetch the data from the third party, and our third parties we source the data from many different sources, right? And this tool has the capability to read also different data sources, and also from our internal S3 or open search, and then analyze the data. And it is actually capable of also tell us if there is some erroneous data, so it is able to segregate the good data and bad data, and then we can reinitiate it to correct the bad data, right? So that's the reason the system itself is being self-sufficient to do a error correction of the data before it gets fed into the model. And that's the way actually you enhance the model performance, right?
Okay, great. Thank you. For organizations just beginning their AI journey, what advice would you give to ensure that their models are both reliable and effective?
So the organization, whoever starting, for them also, first thing is the data. Sources, what the model is for, and what intention is the model is going to serve. That question is need to be answered first. Once you have that answer, and then the data sources, you need to understand your data sources, and what kind of data you need to feed in. It is structural, unstructural, what kind of data it is fed in. Once you have that data analysis done and the verification done, then you have to prepare a training data, and that way you can have a good model in place and nowadays there are a lot of way you can design your model, run your model. So yeah, that's something is the data scientist is able to do it. But for the data perspective, yes, you need to be very much ensure that what you are feeding into your model, that's the first step of any AML world.
All right, thank you. Another question here: how was the onboarding experience with the DataGaps tool and installation?
For us, as I said, for us the challenge was the time sensitivity and adaptability, and and also there is a lot of very very peculiar scenarios, which is very very specific to our business scenarios, which our finance analysts used to run to validate the data. So for me, when we started, for us, they opened the door to do a POC with us, because we specified them that our data is huge and we have this kind of challenges in our place. So the onboarding team, the India technical team, was very patient with us to sit and do the POC. We have regular catch up for a month, every single day. Our leads used to sit with them to understand, and then we also ask them for before we actually onboard the tool in a system. You ask for a customization of some of the APIs, which they agreed, and they also we given a very tight timeline to them, because our scenario that time we are actually in a hurry to launch a product. These people are very 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 open to stick to the timeline and give us the model and the license, and we deployed at the development time. Also, we have got very good support from the team to onboard us smoothly. So yeah, the experience is really good, and I have actually asked David also many times about it, that my experience of with it's been 2 years we are using DataGaps, and it's been very smooth so far.
Well, that's great to hear. Thank you. Another question is, did you face any downtime with the tool, and how did you recover?
No, we don't have any downtime. To my knowledge, we never had any downtime. I don't think we have experienced that so far.
Okay. And then, I think this falls into what you just said. How much can you recommend DataGaps to others in your industry?
Of course, I'm already actually recommended.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just wanted to say that whoever put the question in here knew that their question was being addressed.
Sorry, I
I
didn't
I
get
just want
you.
to make sure that that everybody's questions were being addressed here. Thank you.
Okay.
It sounds like you are recommending, so I don't think you'd probably be here if you were not. So
Right.
wonderful. I don't think there's any more questions, but thank you so much for being here at Ekatmika, and thank you everybody who joined us today. We hope that you found this session engaging and you learned something about data gaps. And please don't forget to check your pop-up or visit your agenda for the next sessions.
Thanks
All right.
everybody for having
Thanks so
me.
much.
Thank you so much.